Hey everyone, welcome to the Permission to Hustle podcast. It's Audrey here. Today I wanted to talk about a quote that I read recently that I really loved and it just really resonated with me. It's all about action. And the quote is, "Action is the real measure of intelligence." And that's by Napoleon Hill. Now, I had never heard this quote before. And the reason why I actually read it was because I have a planner which has quotes on the bottom of each page. And I love reading the quote that pops up on the particular day that I'm actually using the planner on. And when this quote popped up a couple days ago, I circled it because I loved it. Because I do think that one thing we all have in common, regardless if you are an entrepreneur or you have a corporate job or you're a stay-at-home mom, or regardless of what it is that you do, it doesn't matter. Action is the most important thing. Action is the measure of whether you're being successful or not. Action. It's all about action. And it's funny because a lot of the times too, when I'm talking to people that, especially in the digital social media world, because for us, and I'm putting myself in that bucket because it's what I do, but for us, the way that we get paid is by being proactive in getting ourselves jobs. So whether you are being proactive in getting yourself traffic because you make money specifically through an ad network, whether you are being proactive in going out and looking for clients and sponsorship opportunities because that's how you make money, you're being proactive in making that happen. You know, whether you are trying to create content that is going to bring you eyeballs and hopefully will turn into partnership deals, you're being proactive. It's all about that actionable item. I always have said, and I said this on the last podcast, when you do something every day, one thing that's going to move you closer to your goal, at the end of the month, you're going to look back and see 30 things that you've done, or at least 30 things that you've done that month that have been proactive steps. And I think that the people that genuinely are having a tough time and the people that genuinely are always feeling like they're banging their head against the walls, if you really stop and look at it, I want you to ask yourself, because if you're feeling that way, you're feeling that way for a reason. Are you being proactive? Are you taking actionable steps? Are you doing something to push yourself forward? I remember last year around this time, I just was such in a funk. I was in a funk because I was going through a really dry spell with work and it scared the daylights out of me. There's really no other fear like that or paralyzing fear for an entrepreneur when you aren't looking at jobs lined up, when you don't see any money coming in. It's a fear that, I think a lot of us go through because we know that a lot of stuff is on our shoulders in terms of this is the career path I've chosen. And therefore, I need to make sure that I'm proving to myself and my family or whoever that I'm going to be successful at it. And when you're finding yourself not being successful at it, it's scary. There's really no other way to put it. I don't care who you are. I don't care what level you are. It's scary. And I think for me, what really helped me last year at this time was being proactive. I took action in trying to make things happen. I remember saying to my husband, I just got to make it rain. I just got to make it rain. And for me, I allowed the 2 or 3 weeks to just be down and out. And I remember my husband being like, all right, you know what? Like enough is enough. Get up, pull your big girl panties on and come on, get out of this funk. And he was right because I was allowing myself to wallow. I was allowing myself to sit there and feel bad for myself and get upset. And when I did that, it was just like a ripple effect. It made me even more worse. And when I finally said, no, you know what? I'm going to get up and I'm going to do something that's going to help me get to where I want to be. So I started taking action. I started emailing clients. I started emailing PR people that I had great relationships with. I started really coming up with ideas. I started to get creative. And I needed those actionable items to pull me out of my funk. And I remember thinking that. I actually remember looking at my planner, and every day I did something that meant that I put myself in the position to hopefully turn something into business, I put a check on that box. And I said to myself, you know what, Audrey, in a week, you're going to look back and you're going to see 7 checks. And in 2 weeks, you're going to see 14. And in 3 weeks, you're going to see 21. And then in 4, you're going to see 28. And then you can look at yourself and then say, at least after those 28 days, I have done something in the right direction. I have created action for myself that hopefully will measure up into something at least 28 times. At the very least. I mean, there were days I was doing maybe 5 to 10 pitches a day for certain things. And I think that when we really do allow ourselves to say, you know what? Yes, I need to make sure that I get to where I want to be. Do you want to get a promotion? Line yourself up in an actionable way. And maybe that action is talking to a superior and saying, listen, I'm gunning for this position. Let me know how I need to get there. I can play by the rules. I want to know how I need to get to that position. If you are someone out there right now who's like, listen, I have a dream. I want to own my own business, whether it's going to be a brick and mortar store, or you want to do something online, or you want to create a product and you want to get it off the ground and you want to put it out into the universe. Create some actionable steps that are going to help you get to do that. Make yourself get in that position where you can at least look back and say, I've taken the action. As you can tell, action is the word of the day, but it's such an important word because I do feel like a lot of people out there that are trying to get to where they want to be, it's really easy to say why you're not there. But when you sift it down and you look at the situation that you're in, a lot of the times you're not taking the steps to get to where you need to be. And sometimes it's a very vulnerable place to be. And you don't feel like pulling yourself out of that spot, but I'm going to tell you right now, you're not alone. So many people have felt that. I felt it. Vera's felt it. So many people have been to that place where you're just like, is this what I'm supposed to be doing? Because I'm really not feeling the positivity today. And you know what? I also feel like if you don't feel like that some days, then it's not good to appreciate the good days. You need to feel that to really look back and say on the days that you feel like, yes, this is exactly what I'm supposed to be doing. Because it's the days that are really low that you can keep going, that you can keep fighting, that prove that this is what you are supposed to be doing. It's funny. You kind of think back, and anyone that's ever been in a relationship, let's face it, anyone that's been in a relationship, you definitely have your fights, right? You definitely have your arguments or your disagreements. And if every time you had a disagreement, you threw your hands up in the air and you say, you know what, that's it, I'm done, I'm out of here. You imagine how many relationships would not be together. But it's like, I look at my husband and I, we met when we were, I was 19 or 20 when we first met. We've been together for almost 22 years. Yeah, of course, we've argued, we've had disagreements throughout the years. Who hasn't in the relationship? But, you get beyond it. You don't allow something like that to get you down. You've taken so many steps together and you're in love and you're in this. You have a partner that you don't allow it to just end things. You get through it and you move on. And that's what you need to do too. That's how you need to think about when you're down and out in business or trying to figure out what it is you're supposed to do. Take the actionable items, fight for it. And if you fight for it, it means that you really want it. And it's not always easy to really want it, but you got to go for it. And that's why we created Permission to Hustle, because we wanted you to know that you are in a group of people that are just like you. You're in a group of people that genuinely have been there and have fought for it and are fighting for it presently and need to be reminded that they're not alone. I think that was the best thing that ever happened. Last year when I was feeling really down and in my funk, when I finally just came out and told people, it's been a really tough time. It was really powerful to know that I wasn't alone, that people have felt that way before. And guess what? They got past it. They moved on. Things worked out. I remember my mom once saying, and I've always used this on my kids, I think it's funny, but she's always said to me, everything is figure-outable. You can figure out everything. There's always a way to figure things out. And I feel like the only way that you do figure things out is by taking actionable items to make sure you are figuring it out. You're not just going to sit there and just magically have it go away. And if you're trying to build a business, you're certainly not going to build a business by doing nothing. You can't just conceive something and expect it to happen. You have to do to have something come to fruition. So that's what I wanted this podcast to be about today, because I feel like it's the beginning of a new month. I don't know when you're listening to this podcast. And I know that one of the rules of podcasting is never to really timestamp things. But you know what? I'm going to throw the rule book out the window. Today is April 1st, 2019. If you happen to be listening this today, then it's a new month, it's a new day, it's a new beginning. But if you're listening to this on May 10th or June 16th or Christmas Day, use this as your new beginning. Use this as your marker. Use this as a day to say, you know what? This is the one thing that I need to have some help figuring out. I need to take some action to move forward. And this is the action I'm going to take. And just remember that quote that I really love that I circled. Action is the real measure of intelligence. Because if you are smart enough to realize that you need to take action to do something, it will click. You will not be stagnant. Action is the way to make things happen. And when you can identify that and you can embrace that and you can take that nugget and go for it, regardless of what it is that you're supposed to be doing, then that within itself is power right there. You have to make it happen. Things just don't fall from the sky. As much as I wish they did, they don't. So get out there, create some action within your life and make something happen. It's a smart choice to make. And I promise you, as difficult as it might be on some days, if this is what you really want to do, the end is always greater than the beginning when you've gone through your path. And you'll be even stronger at the end, regardless of how everything shakes out. That I can promise you. So make sure you head over to Permission Hustle on Facebook. We'd love for you to join our Facebook group. We post every single day inspirational, motivational items. We also have a mastermind group where we have some women that come together and we share and we help each other out. And then we also have our retreats that we're going to be hopefully announcing some dates soon when we all get together and really have a great powwow and come together and make some awesome stuff happen. So again, head over Permission to Hustle on Facebook. We'd love to have you part of the group. Have an awesome day, everyone. And remember, always give yourself permission to hustle. Regardless of what hustle you have in life, give yourself permission to go after it, to do it, and succeed.